Hey, how's it going? My name is Karen Campbell. Welcome to my channel. I'm the author of quite a few art instructional books, but I have a brand new book hitting bookshelves, and it is called Learn to Draw Art Deco Style. And in this video today, I want to teach you how to use watercolor markers to make this gentleman and his dog. And I just want to let you know too that this project is also done in watercolor markers in the book, and that this layering system that I use with the colored pencil is also how I do a number of my other projects in the book, only using Copic markers as the base instead of watercolor markers as the base, but the technique is the same. Let's get started. The cool thing about watercolor markers, and there's a couple different brands, and there's sort of like different gradients of markers as well. Just really quickly, these Winsor-Newton ones are like professional grade. They're light fast. They are super saturated. They're like professional watercolor markers, and they're really, really juicy. And when you put a little bit down, all you need is a little bit of water and it will go crazy. So these are my absolute fave. They are more expensive because they're a higher grade material, admittedly. But there's a ton of other brands on the market that you can get too that are available. You have these Aqua markers by Letraset, and there's 2 grades of those. These La Plume tubes by Marvy are very popular, and probably the most popular is the Tombow ones. And Ecoline watercolor markers are also really popular, and they're all super, super fun. The only difference being that these, again, Winsor-Newtons are in their own sort of professional category, and all of these fall into more the craft market zone because they're not light fast. And they're dye-based. That doesn't mean they're not fun though, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to be using them. I just want to draw your attention to the fact there is a quality difference in the markers that you should just be aware of. So yeah, let's go. All right, so the cool thing about the markers, again, so these ones are dual tip, and so one is a big fluffy brush, and this is called a bullet nib. This is a brush nib because it looks like a brush. Okay, and look, what you want to do is in the areas that you want it to be darkest, you're going to do first, because those are going to be really concentrated. That is going to be areas like his armpit, over here. So it's like if the light source is coming down, like the sun is shining down on him, the areas that are closest to his body are going to be the darkest shades. So that's where I'm putting the pigment down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the water to push it into different places. So like there'll be like shadows by his coat here and like under his lapel. It's not a science, which is the fun part, but there is a little bit of methodology to it, like because it's so water soluble. You have to be a little careful. Have a little plan, I guess, as to where you're going. So this side, and then we have, let's see, it's nice to have some variation in your drawings. So like it's not just straight up all colored. So you have some areas that are lighter, some areas are darker. So this is really fun because like this is what this guy's coat is gonna look like. Ooh, oh no, I went out of lines. Are you serious right now? What am I like It's really bad when you do like kindergartners could color better than you. Supposed to be a professional. Obviously, always just have fun. It's all good. We'll salvage it somehow. All right, so I'm going to do just that much, and then the rest I'm going to do with my water and see if I can pull it to the rest of the spaces. It's kind of a fun experiment. Let's see what happens. All right, and I am working on watercolor paper just to let you know that the paper is equally as important as your supplies. So this will be a disaster if you're not on watercolor paper. So I should have said that at the very, very beginning. So we're on watercolor paper. This is hot press, so it's very smooth. There's also cold press, which is very textured. And so that is what I'm working on, which allows the pigment to really blend. All right, so all I'm doing is adding a little bit of water to this is a watercolor brush. Again, so you have the paper is a specialty paper for watercolors, and the brush is a specialty brush for watercolors. Those are, oh my gosh, I did it again. I went outside the lines. Amateur hour, what is happening? Okay, so as you can see, the pigment is getting really juicy and it's spreading to those areas. So I didn't put enough down, I don't think, because it's, I want to kind of get, I don't really want to see lines on the paper. Do you see how I can still see those lines? So that is not super desirable. So I will do a second coat after this one is dry. Do a second coat on the coat. But yeah, this is just water. And I definitely should have put down more pigment. But that's all right. You live and learn, and then you just do better the next time. Coaxing that pig. Oh, I did it again. Are you serious right now? It looks a little awkward right now. But in all mediums in art, it's important to get your layering on and know that whatever you don't bang out in the first layer, you can pretty much establish with the second layer. So it's okay. All right, so this is why watercolor paper is so crucial, because I need to go in with an entirely new second layer. And if you're working on regular paper and you need your paper to be able to handle and withstand all the wetness that you're going to add. So this time I'm going to add a little bit more pigment and try to color in the lines. It should be nice and juicy. Whoop. Oh my gosh, I went out again. Okay, and then we'll activate that with water. All right, let's add some water again and see how we doing. So I'm just coloring this in, just running water. This is Payne's Gray, by the way, which is a really pretty, like, blue gray. See if I can stay in the lines. So funny. Whoa! Nope, evidently that would be a no. So I'm getting my brush wet and then I'm just dabbing it on a paper towel next to me just to get the excess water off. So pretty. All right, that's much better coverage this time. Just needed some more ink going. Let's do this side, dabbing off my paper towel. So why would you do watercolor markers instead of straight up watercolor? My first answer to that question would be because it's super fun. Because why not? Because they were invented, so I want to try them. The second question though is really the answer is because you can have a lot more control because you can just put them down where you want to very specifically. So that's a good reason why. And things like, you should be able to color better inside the lines, except if you're me, evidently. But I am like endlessly fascinated by the fact that when I run my water over these, they just melt. I just really love that. So back to the paper, watercolor, cold press watercolor can handle more wetness than hot press can. So you don't want to too much overdo it. But if you were using cold press paper, you can totally overdo it because it can really take, you can use cold press watercolor paper the exact same way that you use a canvas. You can do acrylics, you can do collage. Hot press can handle a lot, but cold press can do it, take anything. Okay, so he's still looking a little stripey. So I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dry him with my hair dryer and just do a few more touches, and then I think he'll actually be done. All right, so I'm going in with my third and final layer, and I'm gonna kind of have the ink going in this direction this time, because I want to, see how it's very, you can see like the verticality, is that a word? So we want to kind of have the impression also that things are going this way. And kind of fill this in. Dab, dip. It's going to help create like the illusion of this actually being round, because we have brush strokes going in both directions. So it's pretty solid because it's a very dark color, but you still get that really nice variation. So it's not like just solid color. And then what you can do is dry this and do the little details in with colored pencils. So colored pencils is kind of what brings it all home. And I use colored pencils in conjunction on top of my Copic marker work too, and my watercolor work too, because it kind of unites the whole piece together. All right, so we're going to get this coat all done and figured out. So you want to choose colored pencils that are in the same color family as what you're drawing. So I have some grays and blues that match the Payne's gray. So we still have the directionality of the coat going this way. I can see it. This is blue indigo. So I'm going to start by running my colored pencil this way across the coat. Oops. See if we can stay in the lines this time. Holy moly. This is a really good trick to do when you're doing Copics too, because Copics have such a, well, they can be very streaky. So running your colored pencils and the lines going in the opposite direction as your marker streaks will kind of help with that as well. It also gives a nice like textured look of clothing. Very lightly here. I don't want to be able to see the specific strokes. But again, it helps to kind of round this out, eliminate some of the streakiness that we have. This is also why I love inks so much, because when you're doing ink, you really are like one and done. But this is a little bit more methodical, but you have a little bit more of a, it's more involved, but it's a little bit more of a sophisticated look in the end as well. So now I'm going to take a darker pencil. This is just a dark gray. And we want to, if I can't see this, I will actually go in with black and kind of get some more of these shadow lines going, the ones where we started. these very well. So I might actually just grab black. Oh, I can add a little bit and still go back with the black. This, so I'm kind of imagining the shading. Go down here, again, up on the arms, and you can also go straight back in with this coat and not activate it. Okay, so we're getting in these shadow areas. And then what we want to do is actually add a few of the highlights as well. So getting a white pencil or even a light gray to get started. I should also note before I do anything to you actually, but if you want to activate these, there's no rules about how many times you can go back and add more. So just so you know, if you do want to, you can even just do like a touch like this and then call it a day. Okay, so you don't have to do the whole swath every single time. All right, so we need some lighter areas, so it's not all one thick color blue. Okay, so I'm just going in to see what this looks like. It's a lovely gray. So we can, it's a great complement to this color. And again, I kind of love it going in this direction. Some highlights on the lapel. It really makes it look like fabric. It's so weird. It makes it very realistic. Oh, I love that. Love, love, love. It brings a real dimension. I was going to say dimensionality. Is that a word? Okay. Oh, I love, love, love that. That's so neat. Look at the difference between that side and that side. That is where it's at. It's kind of like these highlights, which we are going to be doing next. Don't you worry. Kind of like this. So I'm kind of, notice I'm changing the angle of how I'm holding this. Ooh, I love that. Kind of even go right across. It looks like total fabric. And you can do the same thing with Copics, using Copics as the base. It's very cool. All right, so last but not least, we can do some white to have those highlights pop out. All right, so last but not least on the coat, we're gonna add some highlights. So you can do this with colored pencil, and if it's not punchy enough, you can grab a marker. You can grab a little pen as well. I'm gonna start with this and see how it goes. I generally tend to favor really punchy highlights. I'm an obnoxious highlighter. Yes, I can just, oh, geez, I did it again where I was not doing it too quickly. See, it's what happens is it's sort of like the sun like catches the folds, if you will. So you can just like pepper them in. And then on this side, again, this is sort of where like the realism gets very exciting. Oh, I'm like falling on my paper towels. Oh, he looks so handsome now. We're getting somewhere. Oh, make sure you flick your hand in the right direction. I'm not doing well today. Figures the day that I'm filming is the day that I'm a wreck. Oh, he needs some buttons. Those would catch the light for sure. All right, down here. I love me some highlights. I'm not afraid to add a little drama to a drawing. So this is, it's kind of what makes it come to life. Yes, so good. All right, so we need some buttons. Let's see, what should I use? You should use something permanent. Stay away from Sharpies because they're alcohol ink. You use something with like a pigment ink would be better. Let's put a button on him right here. And another one. Well, he should have one up here too. Here, and another one here, let's say. And then you can get fancy. Now, I don't think my color pencil is gonna show up on that, so I need to probably grab a, where are they? White pen. You could use a gel pen for this. I'm using, wish me luck, this, a little Posca. See how then those just perk right up? I think he's got a little shirt collar. It's like peeking through there as well. All right, and do you see the end result is quite three-dimensional. Now I can take my same white marker and try to erase my bad lines. I also have some very opaque paint, which I will just dab to touch those up. So if you want it to even come forward some more, you can even add little punches of a marker. If you're like me and you love some drama, highlights is so fun to add. You can do that as well. Oh, so fun. So it took us a while to get to where we needed to be, but I think you'll agree it's worth all those layers and all those efforts because he looks rather dashing in his outfit. So I will do the same process on the rest of him, and I'll just put that in time lapse because now I think you understand the layering system that goes into using watercolor markers. So I didn't want to leave you stranded and not finish up our handsome gentleman from the Art Deco period. So as you can see, I'm using the watercolor markers by Winsor-Newton in some darker colors to finish up his pants. Now, I just recently, I'm talking last week, found out that Winsor-Newton has come out with very many more colors than they used to have. Usually there were, I think for a long time, they only had 8 colors in these markers. And I was thrilled to pop on the Jerry's Artorama website and discover that now they have, I think maybe, I don't know the total number, maybe 20 colors. So excited, ordered all the colors I didn't have already. These, they're just such a fun tool, and they make traveling with watercolors so easy. These are great for on the go, going into airplanes, just grab a bunch of colors and a little water brush and a little tiny journal, and like the sky's the limit. They're so fun. They're really fun to couple with other mediums as well. So as you can see, I actually just colored the mid band of his hat and the under part of his hat and only one side of his pants, and just with using water dragged the pigment from the dark side onto the side of the watercolor that didn't have any pigment on it yet. So So super easy way to get shadows and two tones. Again, you're just using water. It's so simple. So now I'm actually switching to a Tombow brush, and it wasn't giving me the dark value. So I actually am putting the marker into the dark part of his hat and using the liquid from the marker itself to activate the darker colors and pull them into the shadow areas of his face. So a little watercolor marker hack right there. You don't have to use water. You can use another marker. Anything that's liquid that touches the pigment will help it spread, and that includes another marker. So you can definitely try that. I just tipped it. I wanted to add a little color in his cheeks, so I took the pigment from his tie and I dabbed it on his cheek and then blended. So as you can see here, I'm taking my colored pencil and I'm running it again horizontally across, adding shading with a darker black here, and originally it was also the dark brown. So the coolest part about using for the bottom layer, using either Copic markers or watercolor markers, and I have other videos on Copic markers as well, just so you know, there's more videos that go along with this book, and of course lots of videos on my YouTube channel on all sorts of things, but including the projects from the book. So I'm adding just the colored pencil in the opposite direction, typically as I've used brush strokes to fill in the first layers of the markers. And that combination of the horizontal and vertical strokes makes it look like textured clothing. And the suit in particular, I think it really makes it look like, well, in their clothes, they make it look like tweed, which is awesome because that's exactly what they used to wear. So I feel very authentic using this method to do the illustrations in the book. So and this is a fun little hack. I'm using a dirty blending stick as another way to get shadows on my dude. So especially on like his shirt is just white. So just by dragging a dirty blending stump that just has graphite on it, it's a great way to add shadows. And of course, you gotta have the punchy highlights. And this entire project and this dog are in the book, as well as the other ones, plus, oh gosh, like maybe 100 more that are in this book, is an anthology of how to draw and color all sorts of fabulous people and characters, flappers, cocktails. We have dogs, we have cars. There's really not much I did not cover in this behemoth of a book, but it's a great resource for just learning how to color really anything, shading, highlights. I go very into depth on all of these subjects in the book as well. So this is a little furry guy. This is our Borzoi, which is very popular in the Art Deco period back in the 20s and 30s. Is giant, large breed dogs, but very sleek is what was all the rage. So there's quite a few step-by-step tutorials in the book on how to do these dogs that go with the step-by-step instructions on how to draw and color. They're masters, both male and female. So this whole guy was colored in just using the pigment from the watercolor markers, and I was so happy with how he turned out that I didn't actually go back in with anything. So you don't have to use color pencils on top. If you're happy with the results you get, you can feel free to just call it a day and be done. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.